Before my video starts, I want to ask you a question. Have you heard of the Fear Challenge? Do you like things that are scary, spooky, suspenseful, thrilling, and keep you on the edge of your seat like I do? If so, you may want to pay attention. Recently, an independent filmmaker reached out to me to tell me about his third installment of a trilogy series called The Fear Challenge. The first two are already out, have good reviews. The third one comes out March 19th. It's supposed to be the best one of them yet. Now, he's actually allowed me to share a movie trailer with you to give you a kind of sneak peek as to what to expect. After watching the trailer, though, down below in the description you'll find several links to Amazon, the website, and their YouTube channel. Through all those links, you'll be able to find the trailers to the first two movies and also be able to purchase digital copies or order Blu-rays. So right now, I present to you the Fear Challenge 3 a.m. movie trailer.
Welcome back to another episode of Dennis the Explorer. I'm your traveling host that explores coast to coast, Dennis. For this episode, we're going to be taking a trip down to Bluff, Maryland to see if the fear footage is real. You're now exploring with Dennis. Let's go. Hello! This isn't real.
Welcome to a beautiful snow-covered 1800 cemetery. This place is officially known as the Forest Hill Cemetery. That name may ring a bell. That's because I was here in the fall season Back when the leaves were changing, it was really colorful, vibrant, and beautiful here. And we did a walking tour of a different part of the cemetery that featured some culvert tunnels, beautiful mausoleums, and some other things. If you haven't seen that video, you'll find the link down below in the description. But many of you requested I come back in the wintertime to check out more of the cemetery, and that's what we're doing today. We're in a completely different area. This area features more of war heroes and different tombstones, different scenery, and we have a fresh snowfall as well. So we're going to take a walk around and share all of it with you. So if you have to see what this section of the Forest Hill Cemetery looks like, all you have to do is simply come along with me. All right, so if you guys want any information on the cemetery, the first video did cover that. There's not a whole lot to share. It is established in the 1800s by a few founding members, which several are laid to rest here. But this place is pretty amazing, and as we saw in the first video, many parts of it are overgrown and almost have an abandoned look. But the staff here is working diligently to keep it maintained and clean and enjoyable for people to come to. Now in the wintertime here, they don't do a whole lot, and only certain roads here are plowed. So if you decide to come here, make sure you do have all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, or come when there's no snow. Otherwise, you could potentially get stuck here. Now, I'm not going to walk through the actual grounds here where it's untouched because the snow is about 2 feet deep after numerous snowfalls. But from the roadways here, we should be able to get a good look at some of the headstones here. Obviously, all the flags here are veterans. This is more of a veteran section, war heroes. And there's even, when I drove in, I saw an area where they're going to be laying someone to rest. There's an open pit. So I'll give you just a brief look at that. But as we walk around, I'll just highlight certain areas. I'll kind of pinpoint things that stand out to me and share whatever I can with you. And of course, we'll do probably another follow-up in the springtime of a different part of the cemetery, because this is, as I mentioned, pretty sprawled out, pretty elaborate, and we're in the complete opposite end from when we did our first video. So each time we come, there should be something different to see. And also, if we go to the same areas, we'll have a completely different look based on the time of year. So if you do enjoy the cemetery tours, which I know many of you do, as do I, that's why I'm doing it, you will see this cemetery and others in the future, because you just never know how it's going to look, what you're going to see, unless you go and get out and explore it. So that's the main focus, is to see something we didn't see last time. And right now I am looking at a kind of overgrown area, so I'm going to spin you around and show you what I'm looking at. It's a sloping hillside here, and you can see a lot of the brush is kind of thick there. Summertime, it's actually almost hard to see through certain areas because it's so overgrown, but it does give it a neat look though. And seeing snow on top of some of the headstones just gives it a nice peaceful look. Here we have Sayers. Got a little bench here, and looks like there's probably some type of bushes. There's thorns in front of it and all around it. Douglas R., October 31st, 1905 to August 20th, 1967. And then we have Marie K., September 24th, 1906, died October 26th, 1987. It's a nice one here, Dieter family. The one on the right has a nice mural on it. It looks like almost a church with some pine trees, snow-covered field, and a buck on the left-hand side. Now this particular part of the cemetery, as far as I can tell, doesn't have any mausoleums. This is mainly just headstones, plots, and mostly veterans, which we can see in the background. There's actually a little memorial here, which I wanted to share with you guys. You may hear some squeaking or something in the background. It's actually a truck that pulled in with a, looks like a casket lowerer. So it's driving around making some noise. I'm going to go in a little bit here just because I want to show you more up close, but this is a pretty nice little memorial here for the veterans. There's a big flagpole right in the center. And You can maybe see there are at least one cannon there and numerous flags. So I'm going to get a little bit closer to give you a better look at it. So here we are a bit closer. You can see them all lined up in rows. And they have a little plaque here. Says I'm going to apologize in advance if I mispronounce this. It says Bivouac, Bivouac of the dead. The muffled drums, sad roll has beat the soldier's last tattoo. No more on life's parade shall meet the brave and fallen few. On fame's eternal camping ground, their silent tents are spread, and glory guards with Solomon round the bivouac of the dead. I'm walking through really deep snow now, but I like the way this is set up with the cannon here and the flags. Right there's a pretty good shot. I'm just going to give them and myself a moment of silence here. I'm just going to slowly pan across and pay our respects. To show you, I am walking through some pretty deep snow here, but it's worth the effort if I'm able to share a couple things with you. While you're watching, if you see anything here that stands out to you, feel free to comment down below. Tell me what it is and why. Here we have the Thomas headstone, and below it, which are all snow covered, I believe are family members. So some of them, or I should say most of them, are covered up with snow. But this is the Thomas family. As we make our way down, we do have the Green family. These ones are standing up. You can see there is the mother, father, mother, and son. It's really quiet here too. Really peaceful, really enjoyable. It's roughly 22, 23 degrees out, but there's almost absolutely no wind. So it's quite tolerable. And as long as I don't stay in the deep snow, I am staying warm. Here's Wiltshire. James Wiltshire, born April 17th, 1868, died February 4th, 1912. And also is Sarah, James, Betsy, and John. Hiding in the bushes here is Roe. I believe there are ones below it here, but they are buried. But the bushes that were probably planted when they were laid to rest are quite enormous. And again, it's partially up to the caretakers here to go around and do the upkeep, but they have an uphill battle because there's so much grounds and so little staff. But also, family members, I'm sure, do come if they're able to, but it is pretty common here to see a lot of them kind of hidden like that or overgrown. Right next to Roe, hiding in those bushes, is Truesdale. Looks like Williams. It's a big headstone. Next to them is Shorts. Harry M. Shorts. 1859 to 1907. Adeline Shorts. 1832 to 1913. They've been gone for over 100 years. There is a symbol up on top. If you guys could potentially tell me what that's for, or what that means. It has a letter C in the middle. And if you look directly behind it, see Soulsby, S-O-U-L-S-B-Y. I believe many of these larger ones here are family plots where they have the big stone like that for the family name, and the other ones are kind of placed around them, but we just can't see them at this time. The truck with the casket lower just passed by. I think they're going to that plot or that area where there's going to be a burial, so I may not be able to show that. But right now we're going to focus under this large pine tree here, which is Fritz, F-R-I-T-Z. And there's other ones on the back side of it too. There's beers in the background. But it is kind of being protected by this really large pine tree here. Now, one thing I would like to mention is that situated on the property here of the cemetery is a chapel and holding vault, which has catacombs down in the basement. We actually passed on the way in here, and in my first video here, we did kind of dig into that a little bit more. We were able to go down behind it and stick the camera through. You can see all the catacombs where they used to do the holding of the bodies during the wintertime, waiting for a spring burial. The caretaker here told me that hasn't been used in a long time, but it is still there, and I'm trying to see if I could get the right connections to get permission to get a tour of that, because upstairs is a chapel, downstairs is the catacombs. There's even like a lowering device that lowers the caskets from the upper floor down into the basement. And again, it's not something that's open to the public, but I'm going to see maybe coming this spring or summer if I could maybe get permission to give you guys a, sorry, a lot of noise, to get you guys a more in-depth look at that. So apparently they are doing winter burials here because, like I said, I did pass by. If I'm able to show it, I will. There is a lowering device set up over the hole to lower a casket down. And we are here in February with snow, so they no longer use that practice of holding or storing the bodies until springtime, as far as I'm aware. So I just wanted to pass that along. Right in front of us, we do have one that stands out more than the rest. It looks like a tree stump or a log, and it says the Woodsman of the World Memorial, Joseph Jadicki, 1872-1912. I've actually seen many of these at other cemeteries, including the Hollenbach Cemetery and Easton Cemetery. I mistakenly called it for lumberjacks or woodworkers, but it's Woodsman of the World. Now, this does border a school, so I'm sure it's common for locals, but you know, someone being transferred to the school as a youngster and coming out to the playground might be a little daunting just seeing all these headstones, but at least it's a quiet neighbor, you know, having a cemetery. Got another overgrown area here. There's one in the background there, which is hard to see. It's, let me zoom in a little bit. Now that one right there in the middle of the screen, that one right there in the middle of the screen has a different look to it, but it's kind of far back there, so I'm not going to bother trying to get to it, but it almost looks like the base or the middle section has a royal blue color to it. That's what caught my eye. But may have to check that out in the springtime. Right there in between the two is another Woodsman of the World. So it looks like there are several of them here. And we're making our way across. I'm going to show you, since there is no one here at the moment, there is an open pit here for a burial, probably, I'm guessing today or tomorrow, unless they had to maybe exhume something. I just wanted to give you a brief look at it. Now this lowering device, which is basically like a brace with straps, we've actually seen in the office at the abandoned mausoleum that I filmed. People said it's just called a lowering device. Okay, so I actually see the cap here. Okay, yeah, this is getting ready for a burial. So there's the top. And inside, I'm not going to show too much, but there is nothing in there except a concrete. I guess like you would consider that a vault. The casket goes into that. So for the burial, the casket would lay on top of it, and those straps lowered down, and they placed the cap on top of it with that trailer, I believe, that came by has a like a little winch on it, or overhead like lowering device, a crane type device. There's actually hooks on it, so if you guys ever want to see what it looks like prior to going into the ground, this is it. But they are indeed doing a winter burial. Over here we do have another tree, quite large in size. It has, looks like Hitchfield. We do have a flag and a ribbon tied to the tree with Anna Bozella, born November 4th, 1867, died August 25th, 1923, I believe. We do have a W.E. Jackson next to them over there. A flag here, which I'm presumed to be a veteran. And a headstone here with a little wooden cross and flower. Which makes for a nice little photo here. You can also see where the animals have been traveling. There's a little trail here, footprints. Now the other areas here I would love to share with you today as a recap, like the mausoleums and the culvert tunnels, because they're completely made out of stone. But a lot of those parts of the cemetery are not plowed, and I don't want to get stuck back there. So as neat as they would look here in the wintertime with some freshly fallen snow, it's just not really worth the risk today. So I definitely will show them again in the future, though, because they are some of my favorite things to see here. Having a cemetery with some beautifully stone erected tunnels and culverts, and some amazing mausoleums. But if I'm able to even get close to them, I'll share them at least in the photo montage. So you may see them if I could get by or trek through the snow. But the photo montage will be at the end of the video. Got that taller one in the middle, looks like Keller. And to the right is Finn. And as we pan over, it looks like that truck is possibly stuck. Yeah, that's why I just said I may not want to go to those areas, because if he's getting stuck, I know my little escape is not going to make it. Looking down here, there is a residential area on the end of the property here, and this part is again overgrown. And we're going to walk down a little bit down this road, which is plowed but still snow covered. And it appears I am the only person here today. When I was here in the fall, which was a relatively warm day, I was wearing a t-shirt. There was probably dozens of people walking here, exercising, visiting their loved ones, or even taking pictures like me. Do have one here, another pair of bushes, and in the middle, I can't even see a headstone. I do see the flags. I do see some flowers, artificial flowers. But I'm guessing the headstone is buried. But there's one right there in the middle, and then to the right, 3 more flags. But if it wasn't for the flags, It'd be very difficult to find. And again, some of the snow, I'm not exaggerating, is around 2 feet deep because we've had numerous snowfalls. And since it doesn't really get plowed or maintained here too much, it does just keep accumulating. We got Miller family, Harold and Faye. And directly behind them is another Miller. And to the left of them is Weiss. I actually like the one in the back there. As you can see, it has a little pine tree next to it. So, decades to come, that'll be a huge pine tree overshadowing that headstone. Now, this area that I'm showing you right now, I've never been down there. As of much of the area I'm actually showing you today, I haven't really explored it all. But if you guys do like this area, even though it doesn't have mausoleums or any statues, I will definitely return if you guys want in the spring or summer to focus on this area more so we can actually walk down there and see all that's here, because it actually goes down probably over 50 yards down to the roadway, and there is all types of shapes and sizes of headstones. I'm actually coming up now on a relatively famous one, which I've seen famous as far as the name goes at other cemeteries, the Von Storck family. They are, or I should say they do have some type of significance or importance, I believe, in the city of Scranton. I don't know offhand. If I'm able to look online, I'll share it on the screen with you. Otherwise, any locals to the area could probably remember or realize what I'm talking about. But Von Storck, I've seen, I think, at the Dunmore Cemetery, which is adjacent to this one. But they do have some pretty big, prominent tombstones here. There's a few of them located here that are kind of in a little overgrown patch. We've got Benson, Oaks, and the one in the middle, I don't see a name on it. As we pan across, there are more of them kind of in the thick of the brush there, and many which are still snow covered in the forefront. And this is not even the worst of it. I mean, I'm not saying in a negative way, but there are parts of the cemetery I've seen which are almost impenetrable because it's so thick and overgrown, which makes for a really unique looking area or section, but it's not on purpose. It's just that they haven't gotten to it yet. But again, if you watch my first video, all of that will make sense. Got some larger ones here on a sloping hill. Bennett. Then we got Detweiler. That sounds familiar for some reason. Moyer. And this one, which has a pretty unique design to it, is Case. And looking at it now, it actually has a similar symbol to what we saw earlier. I'm going to zoom in to show you in more detail. So it says Case, and above the word Vanden, it has that symbol with the letter C in the middle. So whatever that stands for, it is on more than one headstone here. All these trees are bare and dull, but several months ago, they were full of color and life. And they will be again in just a few months. Here's Evans, Daniel DDU, 1823-1916, and Sarah, wife of Daniel, born October 8th, 1826, died January 3rd, 1892. So they were born 3 years apart, but died a good distance apart. Looking over here, we have Johnston. In the background, a Christmas wreath. Now, one thing I would love to share with you, but I don't know if they are decorated for the seasons. Is when I was here for my first visit, there was a headstone that was decorated for Halloween, and they had like witches and ghosts and all kind of like decorations, like a little fence going around it. They really went all out and showed that the family had, you know, enjoyment in life and a sense of humor to make a headstone in a cemetery look like a little haunted scene. So I'll show a picture of that right now, but I am curious to return to that one to see if they do decorate for all the seasons, because that would be pretty cool if they did. But when I saw that, that was the first time ever seeing a headstone, you know, of a family member who their family came and decorated it for Halloween time, making it look extra spooky. So that one will never be forgotten in my mind, because that is something I've never seen before. And it's great to see that, you know, even in the afterlife, they could still, you know, enjoy things and have some type of connection to them. So where we're looking is kind of the lower area where we were earlier. We were up on top, kind of behind this area, walking down, and I'll show you some things up there. So now we're down below it. But again, it does continue even further down here. And down in the distance, you will see the caretaker's home and office. So there is a lot to see. And I think maybe one time this year, I will do a full walking tour. It's probably going to be over an hour video. But I'm probably going to walk all the main roads of the whole entire cemetery and show you not only how big it is, but how it's laid out. And it's not going to be an in-depth, you know, stop and check out different things. It's just going to be a complete walking tour of the whole entire grounds here. And as I showed in the previous video on Google Maps, it actually is pretty spread out. It's almost like an L shape, or like a 90-degree angle. So we're like one section here, and then it goes straight and turns right, kind of past the school area. So it's a large area of land here with, you know, thousands of headstones. But I do think I do want to do a walking tour and just show you how laid out it is. And we'll do it uncut. We'll do it in real time. You know, you'll see how long it takes, see what I see. I would do it live, but I don't get signal in certain areas here. So we'll have to be a recorded video. But again, if you guys are in favor of that, feel free to give me some feedback. But I think even for my own enjoyment, I would like to do that. So I'm going to walk down and give you a brief look at the chapel and holding vault. Since I mentioned it earlier, we can't get down around it because it is snow covered. I don't want to fall down the steps, and also not sure if they even want people back there with snow for safety reasons. But from the front of it, I'll give you a look at it. And like I said, maybe we'll return, hopefully, to get an inside look. And here it is. That is such an amazing structure. It's almost built like a pyramid. On top is a cross. And it looks like maybe a stained glass window there. And the entrance is almost like for a castle. Now, when I was speaking with the caretaker last time I was here, she did state that this was used as a holding vault. Downstairs in the basement, there are catacombs where they would place the caskets awaiting spring thaw for burial. And up top in the main floor is the chapel area. But again, it hasn't been used. It's not open to the public. But if I could get in touch with her again, maybe get a glimpse inside. But if you guys do want to see what the inside looks like, at least on the basement level where the catacombs are, you'll want to head over to my first video, which again is mentioned to be linked down below in the description. Well, everyone, I think I'm going to wrap it up here, down here at the chapel and holding vault of the Forest Hill Cemetery. My second visit here, a place, as I said, I will return to time and time again to give updates, to get different looks throughout different seasons, and to show different parts of the cemetery. Of all the things I mentioned, please comment down below with your feedback as far as the walking tours and coming back to the area we covered today in the spring or summertime to get a more in-depth look at it. Looking forward to hearing what you guys thought as your favorite piece. For me, I simply loved that Civil War or memorial area of all the veterans with the flagpole, the cannon, the flags, the way it's arranged. Although I was not able to see all of it because it is buried under snow, it looks like it's a really nice place to stop and visit, to pay your respects for not only loved ones, but for the war heroes. So anyways, if you want to see more cemetery tours and videos, I will put a cemetery playlist down below in the description, or have visited many other cemeteries and more to come in the future. And if you do like this type of content, feel free to subscribe, and if you do, ring the notification bell and select all. That way you'll be notified whenever there's new content. So until then, thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.